Goldie Hawn has been lighting up Hollywood for over 50 years. Known for her sparkling smile, fun energy, and undeniable talent, she became one of the most beloved actresses in the business. But behind the bright lights and bubbly image was a much tougher reality. Her kindness was often misunderstood, and many of her male co-stars took advantage of that. Now at 79, Goldie is finally sharing the truth. Not in angry tell-all interviews or dramatic exposés, but in quiet, powerful moments where she lets the truth speak for itself. Her silence over the years wasn't weakness. It was strength. But make no mistake, the things she went through would have crushed many others. Her story isn't just about fame. It's about surviving in an industry that didn't always treat her with the respect she deserved. Back in 1978, Goldie teamed up with comedy icon Chevy in a film that would become a big box office hit. Foul Play looked like a perfect match on the surface. Audiences saw chemistry, laughs, and charm. But behind the scenes, it was a completely different story. Chevy's off-camera behavior made life on set nearly unbearable. He was moody, unpredictable, and constantly caused tension. Instead of following the script, he'd make up lines on the spot, throw off the timing of scenes, and argue with the director. For Goldie, who always came prepared and tried to keep things professional, it felt like walking into a storm every day. Even worse, he didn't treat her as an equal. Crew members often heard him criticize her jokes or dismiss her as nothing more than a flirty character actress. There was even a moment where he reportedly told a producer that Goldie was just lucky to be around him. That kind of arrogance wasn't just rude, it was harmful. Goldie didn't fight back with public drama. She handled it quietly but clearly. She stopped speaking to him unless she had to, asked to rehearse alone, and once the movie was finished, she refused any offers to work with him again. While the film became a hit, she knew the cost. It wasn't worth her peace of mind. Chevy Chase was crossed off her list for good. Then came Warren Beatty, another Hollywood heavyweight, but with a different kind of toxicity. Known for his charm and long list of flings, Warren treated his personal life like a game, collecting women the way others collect awards. When he turned his attention to Goldie, she was flattered at first. But it didn't take long for her to see through it. She wasn't interested in becoming another story in his dating history. She turned him down, politely but firmly. That rejection hit his ego hard, and instead of moving on, Warren began to quietly work against her. He didn't yell or insult her outright. Instead, he played a slower game, spreading rumors, planting doubts, and warning producers that she was too flaky or not serious enough for big roles. It was the kind of behind-the-scenes sabotage that's hard to prove but easy to feel. Opportunities started drying up. The phone didn't ring as much. One producer admitted years later that he passed on casting Goldie after being warned she came with baggage. That baggage, of course, was nothing more than Warren Beatty's bruised ego. Goldie never gave him the satisfaction of a public feud. She shut the door quietly but firmly. When studios tried to pair them for new projects, she made her answer clear with just a look. At an awards show where they crossed paths, he walked up with his usual smooth smile. She gave him a cold, graceful smile in return, turned, and walked away. It was a small moment, but everyone in the room felt it. It was her way of saying, "I see you and I'm done." Then came a different kind of challenge. Goldie wanted to break out of comedy and try something more serious, something that would show her full range. She landed an audition with Dustin Hoffman for a dramatic role that could have changed the direction of her career. She walked into the room fully prepared. But instead of encouragement or respect, she got something else entirely. Hoffman, known for his intense method acting style, didn't just act. He controlled. And in this case, he used his method as a weapon. Right in the middle of the audition, he stopped her cold and said she wasn't connecting. He accused her of sounding like she was in a sitcom and began mocking her in front of the room. It wasn't feedback. It was humiliation. Goldie kept her voice steady and powered through, but the damage was done. It wasn't about the role anymore. It was about respect, and she wasn't getting any. She told her agent the next day that she was walking away from the project. No second auditions. No second chances. She wasn't going to beg for the approval of someone who had already decided she wasn't enough. That experience stuck with her. It shook her confidence for a while. But instead of letting it destroy her, she wrote about it, reflected on it, and then made a decision. She would never again let anyone shrink her to fit their mold. She later said some men forget they're not the director of other people's lives. That moment became a turning point. If the drama world didn't respect her, she would own comedy even harder. Not as a fallback, but as power. Later, she was approached for a project that would have paired her with Bill Murray. On paper, it seemed promising. Two comedy legends, both with strong instincts and big personalities. But from the very first table read, things went wrong. Bill showed up late, didn't take things seriously, and treated the script like a joke. Goldie tried to roll with it, but when he made a sarcastic comment about her acting ability, saying she should try acting like she'd done drama before, the room laughed. She didn't. She got up during a break and left quietly. The next day, her team announced she was out. No press release, no blame game. Just a quiet goodbye to a project that didn't deserve her. That was when she truly stopped accepting roles that required her to tolerate disrespect. She no longer said yes just because the paycheck was good or the co-star was famous. She started saying no, loudly, clearly, and without apology. She warned her team to be careful with projects involving chaotic male comedians. The funny guy act, she realized, often hid something much darker. And then there was Penn. This wasn't about a movie or a role. It happened at a charity gala where Goldie was invited to speak about something deeply personal. Mental health and mindfulness. It was a cause close to her heart, and she had prepared her words carefully. But as she stepped up to the microphone, she noticed Penn, sitting in the crowd, rolling his eyes and sighing loudly, as if her presence annoyed him. It wasn't a mistake. It was a performance. His message was clear. He didn't take her seriously. In a room full of industry peers, he reduced her to a punchline without even speaking a word. That moment stung because it wasn't just rude, it was public. It showed how even after decades of success, some still couldn't see her beyond the blonde hair and comedy roles. They didn't see the producer, the thinker, the survivor. They just saw the image, and dismissed it. Goldie never fired back. She didn't clap back in interviews or hold grudges on talk shows. She made her point in a quieter way, by stepping back from people who didn't deserve her time, by building her own projects, and by surrounding herself with people who valued her for who she was, not just who she could make laugh. Her story isn't about being a victim. It's about knowing your worth, even when others try to convince you otherwise. It's about walking away from the table when the respect isn't there. It's about realizing that strength doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just walks away with dignity. Over the years, Goldie has shared these stories in bits and pieces. Never naming names outright, but always leaving enough clues. Her words are measured but honest. She doesn't throw punches. She just tells the truth. And in doing so, she shines a light on the quiet battles so many women face. Not just in Hollywood, but everywhere. Now, looking back, Goldie Hawn isn't just a star who survived. She's one who stayed kind without being weak, who stayed true without being naive, and who never let bitterness take away her joy. Her legacy isn't just about laughter. It's about choosing peace, demanding respect, and knowing when to speak up, and when to walk away. If you were surprised by any of these stories or have your own thoughts on Goldie Hawn's strength, let us know in the comments. And if you want more true stories from behind the curtain of fame, make sure to follow and stay tuned for more.